What is going on, everybody? It is great to have you with me. Well, we saw a lot in the Thursday preseason opener, and the biggest takeaway that Vikings O-line still has a lot of work to do. And that might be an understatement. There is a move out there that would drastically fit the Vikings offensive line issues and take them from being a contender for the division to be a contender for the conference. The Vikings' interior offensive line issues have been prevalent for years, and on Thursday we saw one of the 5 starters play in the preseason game in Ed Ingram. That's not really a good sign when one player is slated to be a starter of a unit and is playing against the 2s and 3s. Why? Because the coaches feel he needs some work, and he looked like 6 different kinds of dog manure, if I'm being honest. Not all of this is Ed Ingram's fault. As my compatriot Dave from Vikings First and Skull has already pointed out about the big round bellies, you need to draft them and let them develop for a year or two. Most offensive linemen, particularly on the interior, aren't ready to just plug and play. And yes, there is something to be said about having the same offensive line for multiple years, but as I have said, continuity around mediocrity isn't a solution. Enter Dallas Cowboys left guard Zack Martin. He is currently holding out from the Dallas Cowboys over a contract dispute, and upon further investigation, I kind of understand why. He's got 2 years left on his deal and has a cap hit this year of only $11 million and a cap hit next year of $23 million. But a lot of that is signing bonus money. He's only slated to make $1.7 million in cash this season. Kind of like Danielle Hunter was slated to only make $4.9 before the Vikings redid his deal. So I can certainly understand. Now, Martin will start the season at the age of 32, turns 33 in November, and is an 8-time Pro Bowler. He's also been a first-team All-Pro 6 times and a second-team All-Pro twice. Granted, he does not fit the Kwesi Adofo-Mensah mold of a guy coming off of his first contract and in his mid-20s, that sort of thing, but he plays a premium position. When you have a quarterback like Kirk Cousins who needs all the help he can get to deal with interior pressure, a guard becomes a premier position for this team. Now, the Cowboys are in a similar situation to what the Vikings were with Danielle Hunter, but Martin does have one more year on his contract, as I mentioned. So they have dug their heels in and have not given in to his contract demands, and Zack Martin has dug his heels in and has been holding out and is getting fined $50,000 a day. While he doesn't exactly fit the age requirements that Kwesi typically looks for, like a Dalton Reisner who's 28, I would be willing to make a call to the Dallas Cowboys, and I feel it is imperative for the Vikings to make a call to the Dallas Cowboys and check on the availability of making a trade for this guy. Yes, there will be some in this fan base that will have some PTSD with making a trade with the Dallas Cowboys. I get that. But this guy has missed 9 games over the total of his 9 seasons. He does not appear to be on his last legs. He has not had an injury history. He is more than just a solid left guard. He is one of the premier left guards in the NFL, even at the age of 32, about to be 33. Now, I realize that would require a little bit of draft capital to be kicked down the road to the Dallas Cowboys, as well as some salary cap finagling, but the Vikings still have $10 million in available salary cap space, and they have an additional 10 that they can create instantaneously by doing the Brian O'Neill restructure that they've held on to for this entire offseason. What kind of trade compensation he would require, I am not sure, but if the Vikings couldn't garner a first-round draft pick for the 29-year-old Danielle Hunter, then it shouldn't take a first-round draft pick to get a 33-year-old guard from the Dallas Cowboys. Offer him a third-round pick. Offer him a third-round pick in Ezra Cleveland. Because guess what? This will be Ezra Cleveland's last season if he does play for us. He's going to want to test the market. He's going to want to see if he can find a job as a left tackle, get paid more money. If you're going to spend all of this time renegotiating with Danielle Hunter, bringing in Brian Flores to try to upgrade this defense and make them halfway respectable, then why wouldn't you fix the one problem you have left on offense? I don't care what it takes, but if you're serious about the competitive side of this competitive rebuild, then it doesn't do you any good to make all of these other moves and not fix the most important area of need on your offense. I don't know what kind of compensation it would take, but I would at least be making those phone calls to bring Zack Martin to this team. He's a guy that, he's been sitting out, so it's going to take him a little bit of time to get ramped up. But he is a 6-time first-team All-Pro and a 2-time second-team All-Pro player. I think he'll be able to pick up what we're trying to throw down. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave me a comment. Do you think the Vikings should be interested in Zack Martin? Do you think they should make the call? And what would you offer them? Thank you kindly for joining me, and as always, and please tune in tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time for Skull for Days, where we will wrap the entire week 1 of the preseason, as well as look forward to week 2, and that is the Skull to the next episode.